It is that time of year again, turkey time. Turkey is some of y'all's absolute favorite food to cook for Thanksgiving. Absolute classic, it doesn't really get much better, and pretty American. That being said, one of the most popular ways to make turkey is deep fry. And so today, I'm gonna show you the only way to make deep fried turkey that it comes out perfect every single time. That right there, that is insane. First things first, we need to start 24 hours before, and we're gonna be doing a wet brine. Difference between marinating and brining. Marinating usually uses some form of acid, so like citric acid coming from fruit, breaks down the muscle, makes it softer. Brining utilizes water, sugar, and salt to help increase the moisture inside of the food, because salt is actually the only way that you can really increase moisture. So it makes it less dry when you cook. So that's why, you would want to use a brine instead of maybe a marinade for turkey, because let's be honest, turkey can sometimes be extremely dry. There are two types of brining. One, you have a dry brine, one, you have a wet brine. Dry brine is really exactly what it sounds like. You use it a lot for steak. So it's like over salting a steak, throwing it into the fridge, and you're extracting that moisture so that you get a better crust and you honestly get to retain a lot of the flavor. A wet brine is using water and salt instead of just salt itself. Wet brine, you're using it to increase the moisture for turkey. It's dry, it needs more moisture, and it just needs to have some additional flavor added to it. So that is why wet brining is the best way to do it. So I have my handy dandy 5-gallon bucket that is half full of water. This should be done at least 12 hours before, ideally 24. Let's start cooking some turkey. For our wet brine today, we have some aromatics. So I have some rosemary. I'm not even gonna take this off of the sprig. We're just gonna dump that right in. We have some garlic cloves. Now, I have 2 navel oranges and 2 lemons that have been sliced or wedged. Now, the fun part, we have some chipotle paste. This is one of my absolute favorites for using with turkey, because we're gonna end up getting some of that smokiness with a deep fryer, because chipotle is basically just dried out smoky jalapenos. We're gonna add that into the brine. Okay, so when it comes to salt, we have about 2-ish gallons of water in here, and we're gonna shoot for about 1 cup per gallon of water. So I'm using coarse kosher salt. So we got 1 of those and 2. Take our handy dandy spatula. We're gonna just mix this around. And the goal is to just try and mix it until basically you can't really feel any of that salt at the bottom. It smells great. The chipotle is gonna kind of darken the skin color. It's gonna look great. All right, so we have our big turkey. I've been letting this sit in the fridge to thaw for about like 3 or 4 days. That is one of the biggest pieces. You need a turkey that is completely thawed, and some of these turkeys take anywhere from 2 to 4 to even like a week to thaw. So if you're cooking like a 20-pound turkey, like something that's absolutely massive, make sure that you leave enough time for it to actually thaw. So we're gonna place this guy directly into the brine. Let everything just kind of encapsulate, push it down. Perfect. All right, and then we're gonna take our cap, put it completely over, and here we have our turkey brining. You can find one of these food grade like containers for brining at like either your local grocery store, especially around Thanksgiving time. I'm gonna place this guy into the fridge for about 24 hours, at minimum 12 hours, but ideally 24. Don't really wanna go past 24. Similar to marinating, if you have that acid on the meat for too long, it's actually gonna just kind of become too soft and a little mushy. If we have this guy sitting in the salt for too long, it's actually gonna start being a little too salty. See you tomorrow. Next day, turkey's been brining, so let's pull it out and get it prepped to go in the frying oil. Ooh, smells great. I'm gonna let it drain, get all that excess brine out. Now, we are going to pull off this clip that has been helping keep the turkey kind of sturdy, and I'm gonna pat this guy dry, at least as dry as I can get it. If you see like extra chipotle or anything else that's on this guy, don't worry, it's okay. Now, from here, I'm gonna actually gently lift the skin. We're gonna try and separate it from the meat because this is where we're gonna be putting all of the butter and ingredients. The skin is a lot tougher than people realize, so don't be afraid. Now, I'm not gonna season the actual outside, like the skin itself. I'm gonna season under the skin to really prevent any potential for major burning. All right, perfect. Now, I have some of the adobo that came from the chipotle and adobo mixed together with about a cup of melted butter, but we let it come to a paste so it's easier to spread under the skin. And then I have my chipotle garlic rub. We're adding even more chipotle. And then mix this all together. Just want it to be like a soft sand kind of texture. And then from here, I'm gonna use my hands. We're just gonna take a little bit, lift up the skin, and spread that bad boy around. Get it as evenly coated as possible. And get the inside a little bit as well. And I'm just gonna just a touch on the skin, just so, you know, it's gonna get a little bit of color. We have our stand. I like to go breast side down. So we're gonna push this in, boom. All right, this guy is ready to go into the frying oil. Now, this is Derek Wolf's fire safety. We're cooking with frying oil. You do not put out frying oil with water. You suffocate frying oil if it catches on fire because it needs oxygen in order for it to continue burning. We're gonna have a few safety measures. Number one, we have our propane to the side. When we add the turkey into the frying oil, we're gonna cut the propane immediately, and then we won't start it back up until all the bubbling and all the craziness has kind of died down. That frying oil will get fully up to temp. We're gonna cook at about 350. We're gonna fill this guy only about halfway up. These are welding gloves, so if you desperately need to get the frying oil away from the fire and you want to set it over to the side, we have a safety setup ready over there, my fire pit that's ready to go in case it needs to be pulled off. I do have a grease fire extinguisher. It's over to the side. You will never see this video if I completely burn this. Just be safe, be overcautious, overprotective, and honestly, make sure the kids, pets, anybody that might be a tripping or falling hazard, or anybody that could just be careless is away from this when the turkey is in. This thing is extremely dangerous. That being said, Derek Wolf, the dad, and safety briefing is over. Now, let's fry some turkey. I'm gonna start by opening up the propane tank. So we're gonna turn it to open. Boom. So we have our oil already ready to go inside of this, so I'm gonna let it heat up to about 400. Okay, so the oil's been going for like 20 minutes or so. We're at 400, we're ready to go. I'm going to kill the propane in the fire. We're gonna add the turkey in so that there is no propane going, so if it does start to spill over, all we're gonna deal with is just some grease on my concrete. Now, let's grab the turkey. Now we're gonna make sure that this goes in super duper slowly. Make sure you have a good latch on this. Sometimes it's just gonna take a second to go through all the cavity and get all that oil in, and it's gonna make a lot of popping and a lot of problems, but we should be sitting pretty perfect right here. You may not have enough oil to cover the tailbone, but don't worry about it. The tailbone, nobody is really gonna be eating that anyway, so it's fine. This guy's ready to go. This should take about 30 to 45 minutes or so. Really depends on how big your turkey is. I'm gonna turn on that propane tank here in a second, but you can see all the oil splatters and everything. That's the reason why we turn off that line before the turkey gets fully into the frying oil so that we don't have to deal with any grease fires. Let's start up the propane again. Perfect. Now, chill out, enjoy, have yourself one beer or one glass of whiskey. I'll be seeing you in like 30 to 45 minutes. All right, so turkey is at like 160-ish. We're gonna pull it out, let it rest for about like 20, 30 minutes. But before I do that, I'm gonna cut the propane so we don't have a grease fire right at the end. It is off, pull off the lid. I'm gonna go slowly with this guy. Look at that, beauty. Looks crispy. Okay, so we're gonna let this rest for about like 20-ish minutes to kind of cool down, and then we're gonna slice it up. Well, it's not the prettiest deep fried turkey, but it is gonna be the most flavorful, and that's all that really matters. From here, you can just butcher it however you really want to. Take out some of the leg, literally is just gonna fall right apart. And that thing, look at that, that's juicy, dude. That's insane. Look how tender that is, dude. Look at that drummy, juicy. This thing is going to taste absolutely incredible. We made last night a cranberry barbecue sauce that goes perfectly on the side with this deep fried turkey. I'm gonna give it a good old dip, taste it, and see how we did. That right there. That is insane. We add a little bit of orange zest into this barbecue sauce with the cranberry. This guy is juicy, it's tender, and that's all that really matters. Honestly, having something that tastes really good is all that really matters with turkey, because sometimes the best looking turkeys don't taste that good. This is a 10 out of 10. You can 100% make this at home. Obviously, just follow the fire safety guidelines and making sure that you don't deep fry and burn down your house. Please don't do that. If you are gonna deep fry your turkey, make sure to follow these 3 rules. Number 1, make sure that you brine. Adding into water and salt is gonna help increase that moisture. That's definitely what you want. Number 2, make sure that you do follow fire safety protocols. And 3, make sure you add a ton of seasoning under the skin. Go and grab my seasonings, my sauces. Honestly, a cowboy butter deep fried turkey would go incredible. I did just write a deep fried turkey recipe, so go and check that out. I have some of the other fun ones too. You can do smoked, rotisserie, like all the other ones. Whatever your heart desires when it comes to this time of year. Stay so freaking delicious. Cheers. Dude, this is the ugliest turkey I've ever seen, but honestly, tasted great, but very ugly. Also, this sauce rocks. Orange zest in the barbecue sauce with some cranberry, perfection. Okay, bye.